don't know. But the fact is, that's one example of NHS ways. Another example is, my wife's a teacher, and he's a supply teacher now. A few years ago, he was working in a primary school, and this primary school that it had equipment, it had desks, and it entered every one of these sure start areas, and it was a great thing. And so suddenly the primary school got all these, not laptops, iPads for maths, right? Rather than actually just, get some decent teaching going on. They threw all these laptops at it. The headmistress decided to throw out all the books that we had. And Tommy went to, by the now Tommy was a supply teacher. Yeah. She came in today, short skin. Her skin was full of books. And also desks and all sorts of stuff. But these could have gone to, it could have gone out to Africa, it could have gone to places that needed it. They threw them away.
I understand that. I've got to move on, Patrick, but I get the point about...
Quickly, I'm just saying,
I'm out of time. I've got to get to a break. But the point is, Patrick, about this, is you're making a point about government waste, which I think is well documented and well illustrated by the example you've given. Patrick, thank you very much indeed for your call. Is the UK a beacon of economic stability? The Chancellor thinks that. I do think she's living on a different planet. Some would say cloud cooking mad. 03456060973, text 84850, and live on LBC 1219.
This is LBC.
Free breakfast clubs don't just set kids up for the day, they free parents up too. Not only do working parents save up to £450 per child per year in childcare, but they get up to 95 additional hours back as well. Time that can be used to juggle busy mornings or to get back to work, putting more money into families' pockets. Learn more about free breakfast clubs in your area. Visit beststartinlife.gov.uk. England only.
With the long, hot summer still fresh in the memory, it's easy to forget what's around the corner. Prepare your BMW for whatever the great British weather can muster with a BMW seasonal inspection. For just $39.99, our expert technicians will top up fluids and oil, check the essentials like tyres, wipers and battery, and return your BMW washed, vacuumed and winter ready. Search BMW seasonal inspection. T's and C's apply.
Building a coffee business? Serving the best Americano in town is up to you. But winning back time and growing your business? Leave that to SumUp. Take orders and payments anywhere with the new SumUp terminal. Turn occasional customers into regulars with a free loyalty program. And with the SumUp point of sale system, you'll always know when you're running low on your best selling plans. Visit sumup.co.uk to learn.
Hi babe, yeah, mad day. So do you fancy staying in tonight instead? Delivery fee is now from 99p on the Mackey's app, and we can get a free chicken Big Mac if we spend £15. So you in? Of course you are.
Exclusively on the McDonald's app, £15 spent only on main day food and drink via delivery until the 19th of October. 18 plus, service fee and small order fee made by participating restaurants. Serving times and T's.
Imagine the very vocal lens of the future, personalised to you, engineered with artificial intelligence and powered by your visual behaviour. Experience
with Arthur Laffer, who came up with this concept of the Laffer curve, which we talked about before, that if you keep taxing people to the hilt, eventually the tax take's going to go down because the incentive to work goes down over time. You just keep taxing people. There's an inflection point beyond which it doesn't really work anymore. So that's his answer. What's yours, Adam?
Mine is deluded as well. I mean, we all know that. Although he is right that we can't continue to tax only because the overall income will go down, but even I was in a major builders merchant the other day trying to get some stuff. Even they have reduced their staff because of the national insurance one. So they're not recruiting and they're letting people go and reducing people's hours to pay for that increase. So is that not an opposite effect to what they wanted? Because everyone's still going to pay the same.
The other thing,
Lower amount.
well, the other thing that's not been talked about at all, and this is also doesn't help the situation, which is the amount that we are paying for our borrowing is very, very high. Current UK 10-year borrowing costs, these are on UK gilts, stand at 4.5%, and they're higher than America's, which is 4%, and even France, which is really not doing very well economically, 3.3%. All of that needs to be paid for because we're spending about 100 billion a year just on interest costs and serving that debt. Adam, that's why they're screaming to the wall, my friend.
Yes, and then it's me that's going to look for the ogre that's going to, if these people aren't paid, I'm going to let the residents down in the home. They're very settled, very substantiated where they are. And actually, that's going to have a really negative impact on their whole entire life.
See that. Adam, not an easy situation at all. We shall see what she comes up with in a few weeks' time. Thank you for your call. Paul in Morgan, good afternoon.
Hello, Ali. Great show. I just want to concentrate on one industry here that I've been studying quite a lot because I've been following this guy on YouTube. He's got a very interesting channel. Anyway, Legacy Motor Company. Okay? Let's look at Nissan, one of the biggest employees up in the northeast. Huge car factory up there. Nissan probably got 12 months to go before they're bust. They've dragged Renault down with them. Volkswagen are on the verge. BMW are in a lot of trouble. And the reason for this is that we've all seen, you probably all noticed the amount of Chinese cars that have been hitting our roads. Now, those cars, especially the battery technology, is years ahead of anything we've got. Some of them now got 1,000-mile range. The legacy car makers, you're lucky if you get 300-400 miles out of them. This is why those legacy car makers are now on the verge of going bust, especially Nissan. I think they got maybe 12 months if they're lucky to go. Now, when those companies go, all those skilled men that are making legacy cars up north, and women rather, they're all, where do they go? The entire industry, the entire legacy motor industry at the moment is in big, big trouble. And there's a lot of people employed in that here, but we don't hear a thing.
But aren't they electrifying, Paul, as well? I think they're all moving down the electric road, aren't they?
But they all get their batteries from companies like CATL. Now, CATL in China, look them up. Yeah. They only sell the West battery technology that is a couple of years behind what they've got. The solid-state batteries that are coming out now, you can't get them on Western cars. They're only on Chinese vehicles because they're the ones that have invented them. Companies like CATL. So all the batteries aren't made in the West. They're all at the moment shipped over from China. Even Tesla are now using Chinese batteries. So the advantage they've got means that, you know, you're going to buy a car that's got a 400-mile range or a 1,000-mile range. You see the amount of these cars, and they're very good cars. I'm not knocking them. And unless, you know, Rachel Reeves pulls her head out her backside, she shouldn't be doing that job anyway.
But then Paul, on that,
yep.
What do you want them to do? You want state intervention to keep these jobs going, or what are you calling for?
Well, at the moment you've got two playing fields, but are very unequal. You've got a huge advantage that the Chinese have got. That's their battery technology. Plus the fact there's zero tariffs on their cars coming in. That's a recipe for disaster on its own.
Yeah, but then you need to think about very carefully about industrial strategy. We're going to come back to that in the next hour when we talk about net zero energy.
We can't keep up. The Chinese are so advanced with their battery technology now, it will take us probably a decade to build the factories, implement the technology, which we don't currently have, to meet what the Chinese are doing now.
Give her a tip, Paul. What's your tip for the Chancellor?
I think on the legacy car industry, I think it's too late. It's gone. There's nothing.
So if that's gone, then what's your tip for her if she's looking for... She's saying we're stable. She needs growth. Where's it going to come from?
It's got to come from over. You need those Chinese factories here.
Well, now that's interesting. I'm not exactly sure how that works in terms of the cost differential.
The rest of Europe, I think Slovenia, one of the European countries now, the Chinese are starting to build factories there. They've already taken over a number of Xbox manufacturers that have shut down across Europe anyway. So the UK now have no manufacturing, but in the rest of the Europe they do.
That would be very interesting to see what, if anything, happens to attract more foreign direct investment into this country, which is also under pressure, which we discussed last weekend as well. There's a lot more of this coming up for the head of the budget, I can tell you. Paul, thank you. Anthony says this: Reeves says a beacon of stability, not growth. The whole world is in trouble, and I think we're doing okay in the context. Yeah, I'm not sure that we are doing that okay in the context, actually, Anthony, because our borrowing costs are higher than America's, Germany's, and France. And we've got we have the second lowest borrowing costs in the G7 return of the millennium, when our debt to GDP ratio is 40%. It's now close to 100%. I know that France is about 116% too. It's not much of a difference. Believe me, it's really not much of a difference. I wasn't one of those at the time. I don't want to be say I told you so, but I did. Is the UK a beacon of economic stability? Don't make me laugh. 03456060 973, text 84850. Ali Mirage on WC 12:31 news headlines with Matthew.
Scotland Yard says it's investigating claims one of its officers was asked by Prince Andrew to dig up dirt on the woman who accused him of sexual assault. The King's brother has always denied the late Virginia Giuffre's allegations. A plan to train and recruit workers to fill the skills gap in the clean energy sector has been revealed. The government's promised 400,000 extra jobs in the industry by 2030. The government ministers say Aston Villa's football ground must not become a no-go area for Jewish people. Police have banned fans of Maccabi Tel Aviv from going to a match over safety concerns. LBC weather unsettled today with showers across the UK, strong winds moving north and eastwards during the day, occasional sun spells, and high of 15 degrees.
This is LBC. Co-op members now get prices matched to Aldi. Hold on, no way. Okay then, so co-op members now get everyday essentials price matched to Aldi. Sign up and start saving. Co-op, owned by you, right by you. Wasn't expecting that.
Co-op member prices matched versus comparable products at Aldi GB. Co-op membership required. Co-op and food stores only. See co.uk/Aldi price match.
Hi babe, yeah, mad day. So do you fancy staying in tonight instead? Delivery fee is now from 99p on the Mackey's app, and we can get a free chicken Big Mac if we spend £15. So you in? Of course you are.
Exclusively on McDonald's app. £15 spent only on main day food and drink via delivery until the 19th of October. 18 plus. Service fees. All female line. Participating restaurants. Serving times and tests.
The advert looked genuine. A post from a household name. Experts in money. A hot opportunity. They asked for a small amount. Promised a great return. Took all I had. And then disappeared. Investment scammers are highly sophisticated. And every month CEL talk to thousands of people like you who've fallen victim. Our experts can help recover your money. So head to CELsolicitors.co.uk today. CEL.
Have you found peace? No. I don't think I will ever completely be at peace.
I don't want to live with this trauma anymore.
For many veterans, their battles continue after service. Help for Heroes stands with them every day, providing life-changing support that rebuilds lives. It's not just their fight, it's ours too. Together, we must help veterans find the peace they deserve. Search Help for Heroes today.
Brands that use radio are 49% more likely to get noticed. Amplify your advertising at radiocentre.com, assuming you want to get noticed.
This is LBC with Ali Mirage. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Is the UK a beacon of economic stability? 03456060
it's going to be quite expensive. And we've seen a drop in sales in the last year, and prices have been overvalued. And it's trying to convince people that actually the price today is not what you think it's going to be, because they were going up so high over the last few years.
Well, Leonard, it's interesting because it's not just a psychological element that clearly everyone wants to sell their home for more than they bought it, or whenever that was. That's one thing. But there's also a thing that not only do you want to sell it for more than you bought it, but you want to sell it for more than it was at the peak a few years ago. So that's another psychological barrier that people now have.
Unfortunately, we've seen prices falling around 15% in the last year. We end up with postcodes. When I came to London, generally falling around 8 or 10%. It's trying to convince people that you've got to bring the price down and make it a right price to get people through the door.
But Leonard, this is really interesting, this point, because according to London Rents that started collecting data in 2000, the number of homes that were overpriced on initial listing and then subsequently had to reduce their price has gone up 44% in London. So basically, people are being too greedy at the start, and then it actually hampers the possibility of selling their property because it looks bad to reduce the price multiple times, doesn't it? You've got to get it right, or try and get it right first time.
I totally agree, but as agency, we will tell our vendors what the market is and what the price of their property is. But, they're being told by friends, oh, it's worth this or it's worth that.
Yes.
You've done this and you've spent so much money on that. But you've got to look at the reality of what is going on out there. And actually, it's taking so long to get properties going through. It's certainly where we are in North West London, from an offer to exchange is taking the best part of 8 to 10 weeks, and then completion is taking another point, and things can fall out of bed then, and people are already looking for new properties before they've sold their old properties. We're actually finding the way for selling at the moment is by the modern way of auction, because it's very quick and it's unique. We work with a company called Patterson, and you can see the property. It is maybe priced slightly below the regular market price, but that's to create the interest.
That's interesting. Price tension between multiple buyers.
Correct. And we've sold probably the last quarter 4 or 5 properties this way. But the beauty of it is you can see it on a Monday, off on a Tuesday, because they've already done the paperwork. It will exchange contract by Thursday, and then they're tied into it. And it's a great way of selling. We find it fantastic way to have for the vendor. There's no sales fee. So actually, it's quite an incentive for people to actually put it on this way.
It almost sounded like the Craig David approach to buying houses there. You saw this house on Monday, put an offer in on Tuesday, you get the rest. Leonard, very good to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed for that. Interesting, because unless we can get the housing market going, that is also another thing that doesn't help the economy either. Is the UK a beacon of economic stability? 0345 6060 973. Ed in Hazelmere, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ali, and I'm the leader of the Climate Party.
Interesting.
And I wanted to bring through and reframe the entire debate where all the leaders of our major parties, and particularly Rachel Reeves, have completely lost it. What we need to have is a massive industrial vision for Britain. We need to know where we're going, an economic plan that's going to put that growth there, not just words and tinkering. And what we need to do is to look at, just like you would with any company if you were investing in a major business or starting a business, you'd look at where are the biggest growth trends that you can plug into and take advantage of. And currently there are 2 massive growth trends in the world. One is AI and deep tech, and the other one is net zero and sustainability. And they are going to be, based on predictions by McKinsey, the London Stock Exchange Group, etc., they're together going to be 25% of
to try and destroy all his points because the AI industry is the biggest bubble in history and it's about to pop. So I fully expect Rachel Reeves to announce some policies to support her. But I'll call back in the next hour if you can get your colleagues to call me because I would love to debate this.
Now, fine, we'll see where we get to. Now, tell me on this, Simon. What do you think Rachel Reeves is on? Beacon of economic stability?
No. In fact, if you look at the actual figures of the number of people that are economically inactive in this country, it's 9.11 million.
Includes a lot of students.
Yeah, but those people, that's not counting students. Those people in not education, receiving unemployment benefits and don't have a job. Yeah, exactly. And the figures are worse in France and worse in Germany. You know, the UK economy, I saw the 92 recession when it happened because I was working at the Financial Times. And within 6 weeks, we went from having full recruitment sections to having virtually no ads placed at all. My girlfriend works in the life sciences sector. Shortly before she returned to Italy, it was like a 90% fall in the orders to her company, which was an American company, because £2.5 billion of research funding was being pulled from the UK and taken back to the US. You're looking at numerous sectors. The head of INEOS has said literally that he's thinking of disinvesting from the UK, the largest chemical company.
Okay, Simon, hold it there. Ed's back. Hold on the line, Simon. Ed, go on.
I can't believe it. I've got to stick my backpack for him.
Yeah, so Simon was going to refute all your points, Ed. You were talking about industrial strategy. Just pick it up quickly and then I'm going to get Simon in. Go on, make your point about why it's so important. I was asking you about which turbine manufacturers or solar panel manufacturers we have in the UK that lead the world market. And I think before you could answer, you had to go. But I thought your response might be none.
Well, I think in terms of major manufacturers, none. In terms of innovative manufacturers, we have them, and they're working on second and third generations of these things. We have one of them in Oxford that has come out of, it's spun out of Oxford University, I believe, but then it's manufacturing in Germany. And why is it doing that? Because we're not going fast enough here, we're not putting enough investment into it, and so they can't get it done in this country.
Okay, Ed, hold on, Simon.
Yeah, this is nonsense. Why would you wouldn't have a car, you wouldn't buy a car, but you then have to buy a second car, because the other car would only work at certain times. That's exactly what you have to do with so-called renewable energy, because you cannot store the energy in a cost-effective manner. So every time you build a gigawatt supply of solar power or wind power, you then also have to have a gas-powered or a nuclear power station to support it. So you're literally paying twice for the same energy, so this can never be cost-effective. And, you know, none of the major suppliers are making any money from this. The large offshore auction that was held recently, no one was willing to come in at a price that the government was willing to pay. So now they're talking about paying, I think it's 120 £120 per megawatt hour, which is an insane price, which will only make our energy more expensive.
Okay, Simon, Ed, go on.
Two things. Let's look at the very big picture and then the detail. So on the very big picture, if we had our industrial strategy, we pointed the entire country towards winning the clean industrial revolution, get to net zero in 2030, we would be innovating at 5 to 50 times the speed we're doing it now, and all of these things would be sold, it would be British innovation, and people would be paying us for the next 2 decades. Now let's do a detail. One of the things we have missed and should be now doing, there's a government study showing that tidal power around the UK could do up to 20 gigawatts at peak. That would be about 60% of what we're using currently. And because of tidal power being spread all around the coast, there'd be a base load. You'd probably have a 3 to 5 gigawatt base load as well, which would be produced at the same time. Cost of doing it, same as what we're going to invest in nuclear at the moment.
Ed, just on your industrial strategy point, it just makes me think about two things. One is, look, you've got Made in China 2025, aims to transform China's manufacturing sector to focus on high-tech, value-added industries. It targets 10 strategic sectors, including advanced IT, robotics, aerospace, biomedicine, new energy vehicles, maritime engineering, green energy tech. And the ultimate goal is for China to become a global leader in these areas. Now, that's fine, Ed, as a broad canvas. but you've got to leave the individual painting of the different parts to the private sector. You can't do the status control dirigiste thing.
Can I come back in, Ali?
Go on, Simon.
Yeah, well, if renewables are so successful, why is the German economy, and the German economy has invested far more in renewables than we have, collapsing? And as for China is building a coal-fired power station every 10 days. It burns 5 billion tonnes of coal a year, and it's also building 50 nuclear reactors, largely built with plans that they've stole from the UK, because China is the investor in Hinkley Point C.
Okay, final point to you, Ed, without ruining the entire next hour of my show, because you've already covered a lot of stuff.
We'll go detail and big picture this time around, the other way around.
Go on.
On that one, the comment would be, why on earth are they building coal-fired power stations all the time so they can make the solar panels and ship it over to us? And what we need to do is reverse that, have it done here where we're the leaders in the tech and they're buying our technology and licensing it from us. How do we do that? We get a big focus and a proper vision on where we're going. It's aggressive. We're going to lead the clean industrial revolution. And then the drop-down menu, Ali, that you talked about in China, which is not unlike our current industrial plan in the UK, but you focused on the things that are going to get you there, win the race, and put money into people's pockets in this country.
Thank you very much, Ed and Simon. Very spirited discussion there, and you teed it up very nicely for the next hour as well. Thank you. Is the UK a beacon of economic stability? Ed thinks, he thinks that we should have a grand vision, a grand strategy, industrial strategy painted out, mapped out, which focuses on perhaps AI. I'm saying that we're not quite there on that, but maybe on the green tech, which we'll come to, I'm sure, in the next hour as well. 03456060973. Is the UK a beacon of economic stability? You can also text 84850. Ali Mirage on LBC 1249.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast on LBC. At his best, many claimed he was pure class.
The doubters, the doomsters, they are going to get it wrong again.
Meanwhile, others said he was little more than a clown.
I was at a hospital the other night where there were actually a few coronavirus patients, and I shook hands with everybody.
But as the former Prime Minister Boris Johnson prepares for a showdown appearance in front of the COVID inquiry next week, will it be a case of...
Forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast with cybersecurity from BT. Security solutions built for businesses. Back tomorrow morning from 7. LBC.
At TfL, we're helping